Good. Okay, let's start. UJS is here as well. I'm very more nervous than I've been before.
Of course, it's my president supporting me.
Okay, so welcome everyone who's watching now, who is coming later. Welcome to our number 2, to our second web session series, Union Leaders in Conversation. It's the second episode. Today I have the honor to talk to Esther Offenbeck, the president of UJS, the Union of Jewish Students of the UK and all around. Esther, welcome, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really exciting. Big fan.
Okay, thank you very much. Too much at the beginning.
Sorry, I meant of UJS. Oh, this is
Okay.
awkward.
Okay. The procedure is the same as every year or every episode. I'm going to ask Esther some questions. She's going to introduce herself in the beginning, and then if you have any questions, I mean, like you people in the audience, please send them to us via Facebook chat or Zoom chat, and I will ask her. Only if these are good questions or funny questions. And I would like to ask Esther now to start, to introduce yourself, what is the way that you became the president of UJS? What is your way to become active in the Jewish bubble? All the things that are probably interesting for the people.
Happily. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Esther. So I grew up in Berlin. I come from an Israeli family, but I grew up in Berlin. So already had these like two worlds, and came from a like very Jewish, Judaism loving, religious family. But just the community isn't that like young or wasn't that young and engaging back in my day. Now it's doing a great job with the German UJS, JSUD, and everyone else. But anyway, so I went to an English school from year 10. So that when I finished school, I did the IB, which is like an international, like A levels. And that just gave me the opportunity to like look outside of Germany. Oh, wow, I could study somewhere else. So I looked to the UK because I wanted to do a specific course and I wanted to have a campus life. So that really fit. And I just applied to universities that were good for my course, like not thinking anything about Jewish life. I'd always been used to the fact that when I was traveling or with friends or somewhere else, I would always just sort myself out. Like I'd find the next synagogue nearby or something and then just do my own thing. So I just applied for universities that had a really good psychology program. I did psychology and maybe had a shul nearby, and that was it. And so I ended up going to Birmingham, which is the second biggest city in the UK. And they have a great psychology department as well. And so when I was like looking into it more before applying, my dad found Hillel House, which is like a residential house in the UK. And the one in Birmingham actually is the biggest one. So like just so many coincidences. It has over 40 rooms. So I thought, okay, I live there. Like, why not already be in a Jewish residence? And then also heard about JSOCs, Jewish societies, thought it was just like a little thing where people get together. And so I turned up to the first Friday night and there were like over 200 people, like 200 young Jewish people. And I absolutely loved it. I was like in my element. I was like, people are young, people are Jewish, people like relate to me on a whole different level immediately. And I really loved it, and ran for Jewish Society committee because they do really regular events. So every Jewish society has a little committee. And I became events officer. So I got to organize all the fun socials and parties and Purim stuff, and had a great time. And through being on committee, once you're on a JSOC committee in the UK, UJS, they run a training weekend for committees around like autumn time. And so I just went on that at the beginning of the year and really got introduced to UJS in that way, and getting to meet Jewish students from all over the UK, also international students, and really made a lot of lasting friendships that I still have now through that weekend through UJS. And so that was kind of my introduction to the Jewish activism world. And I went through being on Jewish Society Committee and just being more active in UJS on like a national level, going to different Shabbatons and conferences and meetings and networking with other Jewish societies, and yeah, and also was active in like the general student world. There's the National Union of Students in the UK, which represents the student union from every university, which is like a separate, like a student body separate to the academic side. And so I was a delegate at NUS for Birmingham University, and really loved that, and then was on a different committee in there. So I'm really keen all around, big geek. And so it got to my end of second year. Normal degrees in the UK tend to be 3 years. So I got to the end of my second year, and I was starting to think, like, should I really love all of this. Should I maybe continue? Should I maybe run for UJS president? And well, whenever I have a maybe in my head, it's usually a yes. So it was basically a yes from the beginning. And so started to think about like, what is it that I really like, and like how can I give back and really engage people all around. And so that was a really exciting thing to go into my third year with. UJS presidential elections happen in December time. And so the way it tends to be, because it's a full-time job, people run for it in their last year. So you do it. So then I kind of, like, I got nominated. You get your friends to nominate you. And so became a presidential candidate. And again, the way it works, it starts off at that training weekend for committees that I mentioned before. You go on there, you have the first presidential like debate, and then it starts on Monday, and it's a 2-week election period where you travel all around the country to the different Jewish societies. At the moment, we have 67 Jewish societies in the UK and Ireland, which is incredible. I mean, this is not relevant to my own story, but just this year we had 5 new Jewish societies created, and well, actually not all of them new, some revived. So really like exciting stuff. And so you travel around to them and just go like, hey, like, this is me. I really care about you. I really care about this. Please vote for me. And it's an online voting process that really everyone can get involved. And we have a really good turnout kind of percentage-wise in the student activism world. And then 2 weeks later, we have UJS conference, which is where we vote on motions and policies that people submitted that like shape our union, shape everything we do. And then at the end of the day, the presidential winner is announced. And so I was announced, and that was like an amazing moment. And I didn't really register it until like a few weeks later, but it was bizarre. And I absolutely loved it. And then we have like a 6-month transition period. Not really, it's more like you're in place, but also you just obviously let the current president do what they do, and then like slowly warm your way up until you then start end of June time. And so I've been president since June, basically, kind of coming towards the end. We still have 3 months to go, so that's plenty of time. And I guess a bit more to the structure of UJS. Should I talk a bit about that, Sammy?
Yeah, like you already, yeah, exactly. You already started with it. Maybe.
Yeah. So I don't want this to turn into a monologue. I want it to be interesting for people. But so just so that people understand how like our structures work. Oh, before anything else, I just have to plug my own union. UJS is the oldest Jewish student union in the world. I see you, Jos. And so we were founded in 1919 by, I think it was 8 JSOCs, 7 or 8, who just wanted what did they call it? Inter-Jewish Union Federation. UJF, I think so. I'm seeing nods. So they just kind of wanted to start a network, and that was the start of like this amazing journey. And so today we have 67 Jewish societies. So most campuses, well, not most, I don't know, I don't actually know how many universities there are, but so every university has societies, and then so 67 have a Jewish society on campus, and they can be ranging from like tiny, from like 10 people with maybe 2 people on committee, or even smaller, and maybe what they'll do is maybe have a weekly Friday night, or like a lunch and learn every other week. Really depends, to like massive, like Birmingham or Leeds, where you have really over 1,000 people on campus. The committee is like 15 people, and there's several events a week, and you really cover a whole range. And that's like on top of the stuff that UJS does, on like the national stuff. You really have all those cool local things. And so overall, we represent 8,500 Jewish students in the UK and Ireland. And from the UJS side, there's like the sabbatical team, which is every year changes over with the president. So it's me, I'm part of the sabbatical team, and then 5 others. And they kind of have the Jewish society split up between them. So they are the contact person for those committees and those students, and like help them with anything like organizing events, queries, welfare, anything, political activism, really anything that they're interested in, and like stuff that's going on their campus. And then on top of that, every sabbatical officer has their remit that they focus on. So I'm, as president, I'm just a gap filler. I just help everyone and like kind of set my manifesto, set my vision for the year. But so the other sabbatical officers, the remits that we have every year is we have Holocaust education, social action, interfaith, communications, Israel trips, and campaigns. And that kind of covers most things. And that way, so we work on projects and bigger things throughout the year, and like campaigns, and while also taking care of like and being in contact with Jewish students every day. So I think that's a summary.
What are your big events that you do like throughout the year?
So, well, a lot of it is regional, because Jewish students are so active on campus and really have their own networks. So, for example, the year starts off with Freshers Week, which is the first week of the academic year, where each university has like a week for all the first years coming in, and like giving them a chance to acclimatize to university and stuff. And so a lot of it is us traveling around the country supporting JSOCs with different things. So like we'll, like help with Freshers Week stuff or different things. But the more like national things is like that training weekend, UJS conference, Liberation Conference, which is kind of a day for liberation groups, which is, for example, like women, disability, LGBT, working class, people of color to get together and like have a day full of cool sessions and kind of just be in a safe and brave space, that kind of stuff. To what we have at the end of the year is student awards, where it's an evening where we get together and give out really cool awards and just have a night to celebrate Jewish student life and give out awards like JSOC of the Year and Jewish Student Activist of the Year, Campaign of the Year, just really cool stuff, and just allowing students to just for one night to really just celebrate themselves and have a great night. So we'll see how we'll organise that this year. If any British students are watching, don't worry, student awards are still happening, but in a different format, obviously.
Okay, Esther, we've got the first question for you from some people in the audience. Let me read it. The question here: did you ever have issues as UJS president because you're not British but German?
Ooh, no, not really, but because I guess I've had 3 years of really learning the ins and outs of the British Jewish community. I mean, I was already very active in my German Jewish community, so I know how a Jewish community works, but then really knowing like youth movements and organizations and charities and different denominations and how that all interplays in the UK, I've always been really interested in that kind of stuff. So once I started at UJS, I really had kind of a really good basis. But at the same time, I also have an amazing team that can always help me with any things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about the UK people, UJS people, getting more involved in EUJS? Like, why do you think, or what's the issue with people from UJS being less involved or less interested in being active in the EUJS bubble, like coming to the events or?
Yeah, I completely get that. I think in like, I don't know if it's a sad or a good way, it's like a luxury problem, because UK Jewish students have so much amazing stuff here going on all the time, from their local like Jewish community at home to the youth movement they grew up in to their Jewish schools, then at university, UJS. Like, there's really so much from everything that I think a lot of people might not even think to like look further, just because there's so much amazing stuff on offer here. But also, I guess it's just a different mentality. It's just a general kind of coming from a European perspective, but also really appreciating the British one. I think Britain's always kind of seen itself a bit differently, like to the EU, and like kind of more other stuff. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. But like, it's a cute little island on its own. But whenever I talk to people about UJS stuff, they always are really interested, and so I always try and encourage people to really take part in all your cool stuff.
Okay. Okay, there's the next question. Any thoughts on potential impact of Brexit on Jewish students?
Oof, heavy. Well, I guess British Jewish students, not really, as in life's gonna go on. Like, it's not, this has been going on for years, and I think it's gonna be a very gradual thing that will kind of, that people will get used to, and if changes are happening, the changes will happen like fairly gradually, that it's not like suddenly everyone's cut off and like no one can fly to Israel, or I mean, not that that is the case at all. But I think we'll be absolutely fine. Also, like, young people as well, like, and Jewish students are young people. They have such a diverse like outlook on things and such a diverse mind frame, where you'll also have like the widest opinions. Like, I know a lot of young people, like people who just voted for Brexit, who voted against, like people just all along the spectrum. So that it's an interesting conversation, but also, to be fair, at the moment, really isn't a topic at all.
Okay, let's maybe stick to a bit to politics. What do you think are the biggest issues or problems, challenges that you face as UJS, the students on university facing anti-Semitism? We heard the problems, the issues with the Labour Party.
So, well, Labour Party, obviously now there'll be a change in leadership, so that will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. If anyone's interested in British UK politics, Jeremy Corbyn is about to be swapped out for someone else. So that's quite interesting, different leaders up for grabs. Actually, your very own Ilan Selby wrote an amazing article about that on his take, which I recommend. Why not? Give it a read. It's really interesting. In terms of anti-Semitism on campus, obviously, yes, anti-Semitism exists, but overall, it really isn't something that Jewish students are faced with every day. And most Jewish students will go through university not having faced it, hopefully. Obviously, you're always going to hear about the negative sides of it. And when something happens, and of course it should be addressed, and I mean, that's also what UJS is here for. We're here to support students, we're here to help them then talk to their student unions, all kinds of things. CST, which is the Community Security Trust, which is like big volunteer security organizations. I think a lot of countries have similar things. We work very closely with them for just anti-Semitism and student stuff on campus. But overall, people luckily go through university having a good time like most students and end up having the same worries as everyone else of the essay coming up or career post-university, how stuff is going to change. So, yeah.
Okay. Next question we have here is how did UJS become so big and sustainable structure on the long term? Maybe you have tips for smaller and newer unions to follow those steps.
Wow, I really love that question. Very on topic with our centenary going on at the moment. Well, I mean, obviously we have 100 years behind us, so this is like the end result now. I can't give you the perfect master plan. But a lot of it is, I think, just passion. Like nowadays, luckily, we're in a position where we have a sabbatical team every year. The sabbatical team is full-time. We're all paid, and like we have the immense privilege of doing this every single day and not doing it just as a volunteer job. But I think with that just comes like a lot of it's just like creativity and drive and a lot of time just having to put the work behind it. But it just comes from like peer leadership. So that's one of our core values, and that's how I see, you know, just any movement as being formed. It's from the people in it. It's what they want to see, what they want to hear, talking to them, creating stuff for them, creating stuff with them, and that way really engaging the topics and interests that people have. But I guess more on a practical level, it's working together with maybe your local community or charities, Jewish charities, your Jewish youth movements in your city, in your country. And definitely in the beginning stages, you might not be able to do something like completely by yourself. So why not like have a joint Shabbaton, I don't know, with the local community or like do different exchanges with the youth movements. They already have young people that they've brought up through like school time, work together on that stuff.
So sorry, I have to go back to this topic, but what about what's the situation in the UK right now regarding Corona? What are the different JSOCs doing? What is your response as a UJS?
Yeah, I mean, very important topic to talk about. I really didn't think that we wouldn't speak about this. So from the UJS side, huh?
It will only be a short time, so.
Oh, it's fine. No, it's fine. From the UJS side, we have been kind of monitoring the situation very closely. I mean, by now, the UK is in lockdown, and like that's it for now. We'll obviously see how the situation progresses, but like just 2-3 weeks ago when everything was happening so quickly and every day there was like change and another spike in numbers. And so what we did is like we kept giving constant updated briefings to the JSOC presidents on kind of stuff, guidelines from what the government said, but then also stuff that we thought was appropriate, along with kind of some Jewish stuff that maybe you wouldn't think about if you just look at the guidelines. So for example, explicitly saying don't touch mezuzot, don't kiss sidurim, like challah at Friday night dinner, pre-cut it so that not everyone touches the same challah, stuff like that, which I found, apart from how sad the whole situation is, I found really fascinating, spelling that out for people. So we've been working very closely with the JSOCs from the beginning on this, kind of constant conversations. How can we still allow Jewish students, like Jewish student life on campus, to thrive without making any preemptive moves that just would shut it down too early, while also being obviously safe in every move. And now, well, this has been for 2 weeks now, Jewish life on campus has basically kind of is on pause for now. All JSOCs have suspended their activity. All universities are also closed at the moment physically. I mean, a lot of people are having online classes. And so just the way that everyone has moved digitally in like a personal way, just to keep up with friends, so have JSOCs and UJS. So the interesting thing that I've discovered is that from kind of running UJS and like just more programs and supporting people, it's kind of turned into one big Jewish society that we're running at the moment. Wasn't like me running it, but just kind of all the Jewish students are together in this. Everyone is at home while also everyone is online. And so how do we now create programs and interesting content and connections that are relevant to everyone at the moment? And actually a fun thing that we did last week, I think it's now, we started a Facebook group called Chicken Soup, which was just kind of the first online JSOC in the world. We now have, don't know, even like over 1,000 members, like way more than that, but I can't even remember. And I mean, it started off with cool, lots and lots of memes from Corona, and just basically a replacement for the JSOC banter and jokes and the social that you would have, and just giving people a space away from all the like serious and heaviness that you constantly have to deal with. Just something fun to like just engage in, to like really cool threads that people have started. And that's the best thing. The best stuff has come out of students starting it themselves. Like there's a whole chain of like challah recipes being exchanged, and like how do you run your Kabbalat Shabbat with your family being somewhere else, and all really cool stuff.
Okay. Last question. What do you think is what is the difference between the Jewish identity of European Jews and UK Jews, in your opinion? Since
very interesting. So I guess disclaimer, I'm coming at it from a European perspective, but really interesting. So one thing that I've always really admired in the UK when I came is just the Jewish life, the general, like how amazing the communities are. Obviously in the big ones like London and Manchester, how like the Jewish infrastructure is unbelievable, but also in smaller places like where there's like even just one shul, but just a different kind of vibe to it. And what that has basically been allowed because there wasn't such a massive break in the middle the way it's been in the rest of Europe. Obviously, I mean, UK Jews also face some troubles, but overall, like, I mean, services were never like discontinued in the UK. That's actually, sorry, back to Corona. This is the first time that services are being disbanded. Like even during the Second World War, they were running constantly throughout, which was just an interesting fact that I found out. So that's kind of seeing that in a way. I always see that as like, wow, that's what my community could have looked like in Berlin, for example. But overall, I think it's just everyone has like the shared love for Judaism. You have incredible diversity in the Jewish community, the way you have it in like every country, every city. But the reason why I was able to connect so well going to the UK, like to my Jewish society, and then actually through that, getting to know EUJS, getting to know World UJS, UJS, and meeting people from all over the country, I never feel out of place. And I don't think any of you ever feel out of place, because we all have like we have an innate shared love for Judaism and Jewish activism and Jewish life being present everywhere. And that's the beauty that like I see mirrored everywhere.
Okay, very nice answer. So last question regarding your views. Where do you, like looking 5 years ahead, where do you see UJS?
Oh, I really like that. I've never been asked that. Well, ideally, obviously, like double the numbers, double the JSOCs, double the money. but in 5 years, I would just like to see it still thriving and growing, and just it being driven by Jewish students every day. And that's when you get the best results, when like your members are leading you and telling you, I really want to see this, and then it happens and it connects in a way with people that you never thought it would have. So I guess just like to keep being fresh and innovative and relevant and really setting the pace for the Jewish and the general young community.
Okay. I wrote all of that down, so I'll call you in 5 years again, okay? So we'll check.
Sure.
Okay, so enough of a serious topics, since one of our goals with this web session series of UJS, the Peugeot lot, are also to distract.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't that funny.
Yeah, but now comes my most favorite part of the whole Union Leaders in Talk session. Actually, Esther Offenberg is, just for the others to know, I had a prep talk with Esther of 50 minutes. We left 10 minutes and actually talked for 5 minutes about his talk, about his call. So I'm going to ask you now some questions. You have 2 seconds to answer. If not, you or me, actually you, will pass the question to one of the participants in the Zoom call. Okay?
Okay.
I hope the others are ready as well. Okay, we'll start. What's your favorite thing in your closet right now?
A glitter jumpsuit.
Oh, okay.
You mean like clothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely glitter
What
jumpsuit.
things you have in the closet, but what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oof. I mean, I actually really love bad movies. So I'm going to say this weekend I saw The House Bunny again. I don't know if any of you remember that. It's like a sorority house, and this like Playboy bunny comes in and like makes everyone sexy, and then you end up with it being like, oh, a woman's worth is based on like your sexiness. And so I absolutely hated that, but also loved it. As in like not the movie, but it's just a trash movie.
Okay, sounds like a very bad movie. Describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words.
Really frizzy hair.
Okay, which JSOC is your favorite?
Oh my God, you're getting me. Okay, I'm gonna say Birmingham, but just because that's the JSOC I came out of.
Okay, JSOC is the most annoying.
No. I could never. None of them. I love all of them equally. Okay. Actually, no. Do you know what? Sorry. Okay, now I'm just gonna ramble again. No, I'm just gonna because I was gonna say when we talk like about theoretical scenarios, we always have the made-up JSOC of Fib Chester. So the most annoying JSOC was Fib Chester. Inside.
If you could have anyone of the royal family over for dinner, who would it be?
Probably Harry, just because he's ginger, and that's why I've always connected to him.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite UJS event?
I mean, apart from Summer U, which was obviously banging, I think the Brussels seminar is a really cool opportunity that you really wouldn't get anywhere else.
Okay. What's you were on Summer U last?
I was on Summer U.
What was your favorite moment on Summer U?
Ooh, what was my favorite moment? Huh?
Besides the moments where you were with me, what were your?
Yeah, exactly. Apart from all my Sammy enlightened moments, oh my gosh, I'm completely blanking. I mean, the parties every night are amazing. I really liked the Israeli night because I just knew all the songs. The like Masa night.
Yeah. Okay. What was your most awkward moment on Summer U?
Oh, wow. Probably a lot. I don't know. No, I'm not actually a very awkward person. I really don't have any. I really, like, the last awkward moment I had was probably when I was like 16. I don't care enough at this point to be awkward. I'm over it.
Okay, who is your favorite Jewish actor?
Oh, my favorite Jewish actor. I have no idea. Andy Samberg, just because he's really funny.
Okay, no.
He's a comedian, like a comedy
What's
actor.
your favorite tea?
Tea. That's very catered to me. I drink anything ginger, but actually my favorite tea is blueberry muffin tea.
Blueberry muffin.
Yeah, I think you can only get it in Berlin, and I always buy loads of boxes and bring it back to the UK, and they all look at me like I'm disgusting, and then they try it and they love it.
Okay. If you would have to choose a UJS office member to go on an island with alone for the rest of your life, who would it be?
UJS or EUJS?
UJS.
Oh, UJS. On an island. Interesting. I'm trying to think who's most resourceful. Okay, I'm gonna pick Lauren Lethbridge, who's our Holocaust Education Sabbatical Officer, just because she is really like creative in her like ideas, and I feel like she could have me survive. Not that the rest of them can't, but I think Lauren, you've got my back. All of you have, but yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get so much shtick for this.
My number one sentence to start flirting with.
Don't know.
This one, I know it.
I lost my phone number. Can I have yours? I don't know. I don't really do that.
A person that makes me laugh when I think of her or him.
Tammy, every time.
Yes, okay. Who would play you in the movie of your life?
I think myself, because I want that spotlight. Or I guess, fine, if I'm like too old, maybe who's like a beautiful ginger actress, like Jessica Chastain or something. I've just got a message, Bradley and my team. How dare you not pick me? I'm literally on an island. I'm sorry, Bradley.
Okay, last question. What's your favorite Jewish holiday and why?
My favorite Jewish holiday is Purim, just because I get to dress up and be silly more than usual.
Okay. Any last sentence you would like to share with us, with the Facebook community, with the Zoom community?
Oh, wow. First of all, thank you so much for having me. And follow all of our social media, of course. But yeah, if you're ever in the UK, anything Jewish student related, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone else on the team. We always love being in touch. Also, Bradley has just said, apology not accepted.
Okay, so I think that's the end of our, that's the end. Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you very much, everyone who joined our meeting, our web session. We have a for the rest of the week, so stay tuned, watch our social media. The next one is tomorrow at 6:30 with David Lega from the European Parliament. Very interesting discussion. Join. It's gonna be on Facebook Live. For the rest of the week, we have many other events, but the most important thing, stay safe, stay home, help us, help you. And yes, that's it. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.